How's it going, guys? This is Vaughn, and welcome back to ATS, now in version 158. The full thing is out now, and so this is going to be kind of our first load that we're going to take in the full version. I'm hoping for no weird issues, no game crashes, anything like that. As we know, it's we can't really discount the possibility of that happening the first day of release. That's why kind of patches are a thing. But hoping for the smoothest ride here today. It'll be kind of a long one, so hopefully you guys are able to hang for a bit. We got the Mack Cruiseliner here from McSoap. I'll have a link to his PayHip store. And then I've been driving the heck out of this trailer. Also, this comes from, I really am not sure how to pronounce the Fari or Fari. I'm not sure. He operates out of Facebook, but he's a modder from Mexico, I believe, and he's put together this nice Mack Flatbed, 48 foot, and it's got tons of options on it. It's got tons of potential as well. I will also be open and honest about the issues that it's got, so I'll talk a little bit about that as we go. But we've got a load of logs here, and we're taking it out of Socorro, New Mexico. We're going to take a little bit of a drive through Arizona to Lake Havasu City. We'll be kind of checking out a little bit of the I-40 rework that they did in 158, since I haven't gotten to explore that yet. So that'll be my first impression, first look at it. And I think that's all we got for you today. We've got a cool, also a new engine. I forgot about that. Updated Cat 16, C16 from Zmod. Just came out a couple days ago. The update, and then a few patches had to be done to it. So we'll be checking that out today. I got to drive around in it a little bit, I believe yesterday. So we've got actually 1,100 miles in this engine so far, and so we're going to be using that today in our run here. I think that's it for the intro. So let's go ahead and get rolling here.
Okay, here we go.
All right, let's get our lights on here, and let's get set up with our Trucky overlay. I am going to also have to use GPS because I don't have a GPS in this truck. Either I forgot to put it in, or it doesn't have it. I forget. But I'm going to get that toggled up here. So as you can see, here's the new box for the widget options that we have. I've got currently these two mirrors disabled. I do want to keep those hidden. That should be enabled. We got the tachometer disabled, indicators disabled, navigation enabled, and company messages disabled. So we don't want any of that stuff to come up. And let's see what else here. So you can adjust, of course, the opacity of your background. I'll probably keep it around 80 or so. It's kind of how I like it, so I can see behind it. You can also toggle this. It'll keep absolutely everything disabled if you want. I'm not a fan of the tachometer or the indicators. I'd already talked about that in my first impressions of the beta. But I do have to admit, the little messages that come up when you're, for example, going to a weight scale, or when you're going to select your job at the company spot with the Green Goblin, those have actually kind of grown on me. I don't mind them. I like the little animation that comes up and stuff, so that's kind of cool. Obviously, I also disabled the hints because you don't want tons of hints coming up. I guess if you're a new player and you need to know, the little logistics of what's going on, you might need those. But personally, I don't like them, so I have those disabled. But I do have the little messages come up, and they actually come up in the top center. So that's a kind of cool little feature that they did. They redid the UI on it, and it's kind of grown on me, I have to admit. So yeah, that's what we got for you today. So let's go ahead and get inside. All right, turn my head tracker on here. I think the mirrors could be done a little better. I've got the settings on max for the mirrors, and they still look a little fuzzy, but it is what it is. So, all right, let's get rolling out of here. We got a really beefy engine, about 675 horsepower, so I think we can take off in one high. Well, not if you got a brake on. Yeah, we take off in one high, no problem. Okay, I was thinking we were supposed to go left here, but it wants us to go right, so we will abide. Not going to waste any time here, although I feel like I kind of already have. We do have a little bit of a journey here.
Keep left, and then turn left.
I do apologize if it was something as simple as that I missed the GPS in here. I did kind of build this truck last night with the intent to run in single player, and for that I did not really anticipate going through the new reworked area. I wanted to kind of do that on video.
Go straight up.
And so, being that it was single player, I was using my iPad over here. I've got it hooked up through TruckSim GPS. Because some areas of 158 that were not touched still work in TruckSim GPS, but until the developer updates it fully for 158, the reworked area is not going to show. So I just didn't get the chance to go back to the shop and see if I can add a GPS in here. So I was a little bit lazy in that regard. Hopefully you guys can forgive me on that. But I mean, it does also kind of give you an opportunity in case you were out of the loop on the UI changes and the route advisor changes for 158. Now you can kind of get to see what it looks like. So there it is. And I'm definitely excited for what's hopefully going to come soon with these cool mods that people put out for route advisors. I'm really, really excited to see what they do with the new changes. I kind of poked around a little bit in the game files. If you extract the base.ses file, you can see where all the GPS advisor stuff is. And you can see where they've broken it all down. So before, the SII files that appear in your base.ses folder inside the, let me see, I think it's, what is it? I think it's, on the root of the base folder, I think it's UI and then GPS, possibly. Something like that. Anyway, inside of there is where all of the SII files are that spell out, you know, the look of the box there that you see. So, oh, we got some road work here. Let's see, are we gonna have to stop? Or are we just gonna scoot over to the side? I think we can just scoot over. Slow down a little bit. Yeah, I think that you can go in there and see where all of the new files are. So before, if you're looking at version 157 and you're going around and poking around for the route advisor files, there are some that say advisor underscore GPS, advisor underscore, etc., etc. So now, with the new files, there's now separated files called advisor underscore tac or tachometer, advisor underscore, you know, widget or whatever. So they've broken it down. They've separated the different pieces of the widget that ordinarily were all combined together. You know, how I showed you just now that you can actually separate them. And you can, they've gotten a little bit more granular with the control that you can have over the advisor. So if any of you modders out there have gotten a chance to poke around in those files, hopefully you have some ideas of what you can do with that. And that would actually be pretty cool. Making a mod, you know, with different looks for your TAC or your GPS or mirrors or whatever else you guys like to use. So I think that would be pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with for that. But aside from that, I think that we're going to be also excited for some physics stuff that'll be updated, since the physics were updated in the actual game engine itself, the way that the trucks behave. Of course, the engine RPMs were also updated, so this C16 that we're driving here today has also been updated to work in both 157 and 158, which of course now I'm sure most people are going to be on 158 unless you like to roll back to use mods and such. But personally, me, I'm not too picky. I've got, I don't know if this is wise or not, I've got a huge array of mods between the payware mods and the free mods I've collected, as well as Steam mods. So in this profile alone, I've got probably 178 mods that I'm pushing here. I've got probably 34 trailers built in this profile. I mean, it's there are definitely plenty of mods out there that still work for 158. The big ones like DOMs and trying to think of some others. Pisters works in every update now. He doesn't version lock his. You may see issues, like certain issues that have to be addressed, like little bugs and things like that. But as far as compatibility, his stuff works in every version, since he doesn't version lock anymore. We got to slow up a little bit for speed. And that's the new gear grind sound, by the way. I missed that gear. I didn't stay on the clutch long enough. But yeah, I'm really liking this this version. Of course, like I mentioned, I'm not having to do without too many mods because I've got plenty. in my collection to have some that still work that I'm completely happy with while I wait for everything else to get updated. But in the meantime, I've got, in this order, let's see, I run a 4K grass mod, 2K trees texture mod to kind of get the trees looking a little better, weather 4K, Train Guy Modding's daylight savings mod, and what else? Oh, the better raindrops. Yeah, so I've got quite a few graphics mods in here that still work completely fine. So I've not had any weird texture issues or weird crashes. I think I may have had a single game crash at some point when building a trailer, but I think that was more so the trailer having some weird bug or something, because when I went back in to build it out, it didn't do it a second time. You know, that's just how SCS works sometimes. Or you'll have like random map crashes that happen, and then you go back into the game and you're able to drive through that same area just fine with no crash. So it just, I don't know. You know, it's just code at the end of the day, so there's always a possibility something won't load, or, you know, even resources on your system get overloaded sometimes if your computer's been on for a long time, or you're fighting other system issues, so you just never know. But so far, other than that, my experience has been really smooth with ATS 158. So since the beta came out, and I've been driving in it a little bit here and there, now I'm going to be driving in it more since it fully released. My experience so far has been pretty good, pretty pleasant. I know that quite a few expressed, you know, some concern over my opinions in the first video I did, and of course I regret not having the time due to work and other issues to put out other videos between my last one, where I did my impression of the beta, and now this one where it's released. I wish that I had the time to put out more videos in between there, but I usually tend to be harsh in my first impressions because, well, tumbleweeds going by. I don't know. I'm the kind of, oh, there's Arizona. All right, we crossed the line. I don't know. I tend to be harsh because, in my opinion, it's like when the beta first drops, that's kind of like a developer's, it can be SES, it could be anybody. That's usually like their first chance to make a good impression. It's kind of like the saying goes, you only get one first impression. I don't know if that's exactly how it goes, but you get what I'm saying. And so initially my first, you know, experience going right into the beta was not as pleasant because I guess I had hopes for what it was going to be, and it was different than what I expected it would be. So like when the hints were coming up and it was showing a bunch of weird gibberish and stuff, and then seeing the look of the UI and everything, I was expecting something different than what I got. And so I guess that's why it came across a little more negative. It could have also been that, you know, due to how many changes were implemented versus the amount of time that I have to make a video on it, I didn't get to explore everything like I wanted to. And of course, as I've also mentioned already, I didn't have time during the week to do that either. So I do realize I missed out on a lot of positive things that the update did go through. I just happened to be hit with a bunch of, in my perception, negatives. So I think that's why it kind of came off like my review was more negative than it should have been. But I do want to, for lack of a better word, backpedal a little bit. A lot of things about this update have grown on me since then. So, and I've also kind of taken in a bunch of input from you guys in the community that watched my last video and expressed your opinions. And that's honestly, I think, the great thing about YouTube and the community is that everybody has different opinions. So your opinion will be different than mine for a bunch of different reasons. But when you go into it, knowing that you're likely to be accepting of different opinions. So like a bunch of you guys also mentioned that some of the, well, actually not some, a big portion of the community enjoys playing this game on controller or keyboard. And so the developers obviously wanting to give attention to everybody and wanting to be inclusive of everybody and how they play the game is going to
Go straight on.
the regional airport. Nice. SES is going to cater to everybody as much as they can.
And then turn right.
So we have to be willing to share with everybody. We have to be willing to
Turn right.
realize that a lot of people that play this game differently also want things to improve the quality of life of their gameplay experience. So I guess it kind of helped me realize that a lot of what came out in this update that may not pertain to me, or that, you know, might not be my preference, a little sight there, may be enjoyable for somebody else. So I need to remember that. I need to remember there's a lot of differences, a lot of unique experiences out there that people go through in gaming, and even, you know, with games like this, that where a lot of different setups are possible. Like not everybody will have the same wheelbase and just, you know, setup in general. Not everybody will have the same amount of money to put into a setup, even though they might like to. So for those reasons, SES tries to cater to everybody. So yeah, it kind of, you know, made me realize, hey, like my opinion is based on how I play, but for somebody else, having these extra additions to the GPS and route advisor, or, you know, anything else, it might be just what they needed in this update. So I shouldn't let that cloud my own opinion too much. Obviously, everybody should be, you know, feel free to express their opinion how they feel about it. But to be, you know, to speak in definitives and say, oh, this update's bad, that's unfair. You know, I shouldn't think of it that way. I should find things to appreciate about it. And of course, no matter what, obviously stating the obvious here, no matter what I might say, it's not to discredit SES from putting in the time that they put in. There are certain gripes, you know, that we have where it's like, there are plenty of things about this game that should be addressed, that I feel have been long-standing issues. But there are plenty of ways to respectfully express that. So that's what I always try to do. I try to not, you know, be disrespectful or anything like that, because until I'm at the point where I can develop a game and I have the knowledge to do that, and I have the ability and the time and the resources to develop my own game, I don't have room to talk. You know, and so SES as a whole, I think is
Go straight on.
working in their own way to put out important, helpful updates, and so nobody should discredit that, even if they have personal gripes about update, you know, the way updates are put out, or that certain things aren't fixed yet. Nobody should be disrespectful. There's no space for that. So I try to not do that, even though I may have a negative opinion from time to time. So hopefully that's clear. But I did really appreciate hearing from different people in the community, from controller players to keyboard players to, you know, steering wheel players, even people that don't really play the game but kind of keep tabs on it just because they like to see the content. So that was really cool to get different opinions and feedback. So please definitely keep that coming. And of course, knowing for myself, I'm going to be trying to be more inclusive of things like that, keeping that in mind for future content updates and everything. Okay, here's
And then turn right.
I-40 West. Gonna get a good little look at what's changed here.
Turn right.
Also going to be looking for some feedback from you guys that are actually more familiar with this area, IRL, and what it should look like, because I've not gotten to experience this IRL too much. So definitely be looking for opinions from you guys on what you guys think SCS, how good of a job you think SCS did on this stuff. Man, I'm still getting used to that RPM drop. It still doesn't feel normal yet. Guess I should also talk about some things about the trailer here. In fact, before I forget, sidetrack for just a second, I need to grab me a screenshot. I always forget to do that while we're on the drive. So while we're on I-40, figure this is a good enough place to go ahead and do that. We're passing through Winslow here. Oop, watch my speed here. So let me go ahead and grab that screenshot for you. I'll be right back. All right, good deal. Got our screenshot. Okay, so with that over with, the trailer is really very nice. It's got really good options. So as far as the chassis, your only option is the spread like we've got, but you do have plenty of finishes for the body itself, even the railings, the bulkhead, like what we got on there. You can put up to 3 toolboxes on each side, and it's got plenty of toolbox options. And the back panel also has got tons of options, and it even comes with some lights as well, some blinker lights, marker lights. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and there's some license plates as well. Nothing too extensive, but really for the price of the trailer, which for me came out to 25 USD, it's honestly very, very worth it. Well done. The model itself looks real nice. Winslow discovered. All right. So there's one of those little UI messages I've mentioned there that comes up. And then of course you get the same look and the same location for when you're pulling into a job to select your job and to select your cargo load when you pull in, and the weight scale also. Message comes up there. That's kind of growing on me, I have to admit. What else? We get, you do have options for painting the chassis as well, which is cool. So I really do like that. You can also put on tons of different, you get a Conestoga, you get the curtain side, you get bulkhead for logs, those different body options. So those are pretty nice, I have to admit. Now, some issues that unfortunately do also happen with the truck, or the trailer rather, is some of the loads are way too light for what you're carrying. I believe our load here for logs is 35,000 according to Trucky, but you'll get some like iron beams that are more or less the same weight, sometimes even less. So for that, you do have to kind of forgive it. And the loads also don't pay the greatest. Our load here is going to pay, what is it, 12,000? So you do kind of put up with a few issues. I think there's also some issues with the brake lights on the rear that are selected, that they will respond as brake lights even though they're not really brake lights. They should be positional or marker lights, or even reverse lights, but they all respond the same. This area looks real nice. I'm liking this a lot. Reminds me of Arkansas, kind of, the tall trees here along the interstate. And I want to say they've also even touched up the textures on the mountains and the rocks. Oh, that looks really nice. This is, of course, my first impression of everything, so I could be misremembering. If any of this is already here and I just didn't realize it, feel free to correct me. What else here is a little bit of a... we do need obviously more options for the chassis. Like we need some nice tandem or triaxle or quad axle. I like as many as I can run, you know, to allow us to run some more chassis options. What else here? Oh, there is a weird issue, which strangely enough, I didn't experience it when I was building out this trailer today, but there's also a weird issue with the paint. So if you load up the trailer and before you start configuring accessories on it, you select a paint color for it. Any accessory that you select after you do that, that is a paintable accessory, will reset the paint back to its default, which is a charcoal gray or some kind of gray. But strangely enough, I didn't experience that this time. I'm not sure if that's an issue with a particular body or not. Being that I selected the body for pulling logs today, I don't know if that made a difference, but I selected the paint for it, and then I did add a number of accessories like the paintable chassis, and I believe there's a rear panel that's paintable, landing gear is paintable. It didn't reset my paint color, it maintained it, so I don't... It may have been a weird one-off thing. It may have been even a convoy thing because we've run it in convoy, me and the buddies. So I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I'll need to get some more solidified evidence. But it just seems like it's weird that it didn't cohesively behave the same way. It retained the color that I picked at the beginning. It didn't drop it this time. So I don't know. It may be a weird conflict with other stuff. It may have been a convoy issue. I'm not really sure. But just kind of a heads up, you may or may not see that if you decide to get it. But either way, I am definitely going to refer people to the guy who's actually part of a team of 3 that designed the trailer. He's got a couple others, and I think he's working on a couple truck mods as well. But yeah, it's been really fun to run this in both convoy and in single player. It works obviously flawlessly in 158. It's not version locked, obviously, as I'm running it now. And yeah, it's got a few issues, but if you can forgive the issues, you know, a couple of them are minor, a couple major issues, but I've definitely paid more for a worse product. So I feel pretty confident in referring people to this one. It's a nice little variety. I know that SK Customs has his Mack flatbed out there as well, and these two I think are pretty equal in terms of customization. They both offer something different, and I've also kind of compared them a little bit to Brian Modmaker's Benson. His also has some interesting options that these two don't have, so that's kind of the cool thing, is if you have all 3, you can run different things depending on what you want. You'll just have to kind of, you know, toggle between them if you want to. But all right, we are going 40 miles an hour on the interstate. What's going on here? Guess I could also demonstrate the jig for you guys. Your low stage and high stage. Yeah, sounds good. And we're getting some awesome clouds. Look at this. Very cool. Oh man, we're running out of fuel. Okay, we're gonna have just enough to make it actually. We've got 162 miles left we can run, and we only have 112 to go in our journey here, so we're gonna make it. We'll fuel up afterwards. Wow, look at these clouds. This is freaking cool. Picked a good day to run through Arizona here. Yeah, I think I'm also seeing some new signs, traffic signs, which is cool. I guess it is kind of unfortunate that we're taking this trip during like crossing over into the nighttime, but we're on the last leg of our journey here. Got around 95 miles left to go. And an awesome sunset to go along with it. But anyway, I hope outside of the game everybody is doing well. I'm still working on getting more racing stuff put out. I've been trying a lot of different things. Really enjoying Le Mans Ultimate lately, though. Trying to finish up my placements. I can only really have time for 1 or 2 races, online races per day. I've got a couple left in order for me to get my placement, but the update for LMU, patch update, came out today as I'm recording this, which is February 10th. And then we got news about Assetto Corsa Evo. The next update comes out in 2 days, so that'll be February 12th. Oh, watch the speed there. That'll be exciting. They're really making an interesting pivot with their single-player mode. Essentially getting rid of a career mode for now. And is that Bob Ross? That's an ad for Pluto TV. That's funny. So we're going to be getting some interesting changes with that. Kind of like a driving school academy type thing coming out for AC Evo. And then AMS2 is getting a career mode. So it's kind of a weird little trade-off there that happened. Oh, we got a downward scale here. Should probably get this going. Not scale. Steep grade. Hopefully we won't get called into the scale here. Assuming it's open. I just saw the sign for the weight scale coming up. 3/4 of a mile. And it's closed. Okay. It's on the other side too. Interesting. So that one's probably open. This one on the right's closed. That one's probably open. So anyway, yeah, we'll definitely have to try some AC Evo stuff once the update comes out in a couple days. LMU, I'm going to try out the update later today that just dropped, and we'll see how that looks. So I'm excited for that. Alright, getting off right here for Lake Havasu City. So Havasu, I found out, means blue-green water. I think that's a Mojave originated word. Native American word. Alright, how are we looking here? All clear. This little Mack truck is pretty sweet too in its own right. Guess I should have talked about that earlier when it was actually daylight and we could actually see inside of here, but it's got some very mild customization options. Like I wish we had different light masks for the backlights. You know, I wish we could have some amber tone lights, something like that, but otherwise it's a pretty sweet truck. You may have noticed also when we took off from the beginning that the windows from the outside are pretty much tinted black, but from the inside we can see out just fine. Thought that was kind of interesting. So it's got the external tint pretty much at max. You have to really zoom in from the outside view to see inside. And even then, you can only see very little inside the truck, but from the inside going out, you can see plenty. Bump it up to 7.
Keep right.
A little bit of a lean there on that corner. I'm also running the updated Zmod physics mod, which this truck responds to pretty well, I think. It doesn't do any weird stuff. You just have to be real mindful of, alright, there it is, Havasu City. Discovered. You have to be a little bit mindful of the takeoff when you're pulling empty. Look at that little cabin shake. I shouldn't say little because it's very pronounced.
Go straight on.
Same thing with braking too. Or if you get real heavy on the throttle, you see the kickback, you know. If I accelerate too hard, you'll see, yeah, just like that. You'll see the whole, due to the torque, you'll see the cabin move back a little. I do like we get different dash panel options in this truck. I went with the wood grain as I usually do for most of my trucks that I build, but you got some interesting options for that too.
Turn left.
All right, let's see. Where are we taking this to anyway? Westport. I didn't show at the beginning, but we picked up from my Lennar warehouse in Socorro. Kind of ironic though that we we started this video as we were parked in a gas station. So you would think that I was at the gas station to fill up, but obviously I was not. I just kind of pulled over there because it was convenient. I should have used the opportunity to fill up because now I have to do it anyway. As soon as we drop this off here. Now, those RPMs take forever to drop once you let off the throttle.
Keep right.
Still got to get used to that.
Continue straight on.
Got a Site 1.
Straight on.
Site 1 is irrigation dealer, I believe. Oh, landscape supply. We used to deal a lot with them back when my whole family's in the landscape business, basically. So we've dealt a lot with Site 1, John Deere, Maldonado's, a bunch of different landscape supply companies.
This is where it ends.
This is where it ends. All right, there's a little message that pops up there. It's kind of cool. I'm telling you, man, it's growing on me. I like the little animation. I did complain, you know, if you heard my first video, my first impressions of the beta, I complained that the design of everything looks a little bit too modern, too minimal, that they could do a lot more with the design if they wanted to. And I think I still stand by that, but I mean, there's parts of it that I do like the animation is pretty cool, kind of slick, and I like that it doesn't come up down here like you still have your GPS and everything. That is kind of cool. Thankfully we brought a cab over because this spot's a little tight. Oh, I don't have a horn here. Now how in the world they're gonna, oops. I didn't put enough throttle on that one. How in the world they're going to unload these logs from here? I have no clue. This thing turns pretty sharp, so I don't want to jackknife it too hard. Otherwise, we may not make it. And I think I did. I definitely did. definitely overdid it on that one. Come on now. Hard to tell with these mirrors. Okay, I'm not too satisfied with how this looks because we're pretty crooked. I can already tell based on how I pulled in. I know we can get ourselves looking better here, so let's try to go for it. Oh, good grief, man. I'm trying not to put too much on the throttle because then it'll make the whole truck kind of shoot back, and I don't want that. But then it stalls it. I haven't found the happy middle yet. Alright, we may not be completely inside the lines, but we're a little straighter than before, so I'm just not going to sweat it too much. Alright, we got an excellent. We got our logs delivered from Socorro to Lake Havasu City. 553 miles, 10 hours, 53 minutes. That was a long drive there. 75.7 gallons. And we made a nice little paycheck here of 12,000. I feel like this could be more considering the distance that we kind of went, but I don't know. Some of these other loads definitely are way too cheap and way too light. As I mentioned, that is an issue with this trailer. So you'll have to forgive that, you know, when you're driving around with it, but I can kind of show you what it looks like here. So you got iron beams. That should definitely be paying more and should definitely be, I mean, come on. Like, one of these iron beams is close to this weight. There's no way that a whole stack of them like this should be, you know, this light. I mean, there's no way. The logs, it seems like they got those down a little bit. And then they do have some SCS loads that show up here. Like, you got, of course, a bunch of different log combinations here, like the one that we pulled today. And then you do have some, you got like plastic pipes here, and then you've got some containers. These are SCS loads, I believe. They also work at some HS expansion locations, but we don't have the full array of cargo files from this trailer yet to put into HS expansion. So that's hopefully going to be coming soon, but some of these SCS loads are okay. They, you know, they strap down just fine. So no issues with those. You know, from my recollection. I think we'll go ahead and shut the engine off here since we're low on fuel here. I don't want to be running on fumes on my way to the gas station or fuel station. So anyway, can kind of show you guys the outside again. Helicopter flying around. There's the truck there for you. You can see kind of the customization there. You got some nice options. Truck is very solid. It works really well. FPS friendly. Plenty of places to put lights and everything, even there on your deck plate. You can put some lights on that, which is pretty cool. And then there's a trailer for you. I went with, on the side lights, I just went with one of the stock options where it kind of pre-selects marker lights for you. And marker lights look fine, but you can also select the option for nodes, so you can put your own lights on it. And it's got a couple of bed options where you can put your lumber there on the bed. Of course, as I mentioned, landing gear combinations, chassis finish and paint combinations. Plenty of toolbox options as well. Like you've got, let's see, I have the ProTech one up there. And then you've got a paint one right there. You've got some Merc boxes. Plenty of mud flap options and mud flap weight options. You can even make your own mud flap weights and mud flap, what would you call it? Files, I guess, to show up in game. You can make your own. So that's pretty cool that he's got that going. I wish that a lot more options were skinnable, but I've mentioned all that to him, the modder, so hopefully that stuff comes out pretty soon. So we can, you know, I'll of course cover updates on the trailer because I really like it. It's becoming one of my favorites, I can say. So anyway, I think that's everything for today. I really appreciate you guys sticking around for the long video. And hopefully you guys are liking 158. Please definitely let me know how you feel about it. And let me know what you thought of the truck and trailer. I'll have links to both if you're interested in purchasing them. I can definitely recommend them. And let's see what else. I also pimp out my Discord. And in case you guys are interested in any Moza gear, feel free to use my affiliate code. I'll have that in the description as well. I believe that's it. So we'll catch you guys in the next one. If you're new around here and you're not subscribed, I kindly ask that you do subscribe and drop a like on the video if you enjoyed watching. Feel free to also share it with anybody else who likes cruise liners and Mack flatbeds. So again, guys, really appreciate you watching. More content to come, so please stay tuned for that. Everybody, have a good rest of your week. Be safe, and we'll catch you in the next one.